everybody.
Is it Monday?
Yeah, fun fact. We already just did this, but
We practiced.
You never saw it.
But none of you could see it.
We talked through the whole thing, and then they said, oh, we weren't recording. So here we're going to say all the same things again.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll say things differently.
Try to make it spontaneous this morning, right? Happy Monday. Here's hoping you had a great weekend, everybody. This morning we are asking, we want you to weigh in below, what's the best advice your parents ever gave you? This is a hard one because parents give you a lot of advice. Much of it's fantastic. Some of it's, but most of the time it's great. And it's all because experts come out and said that there's a lesson we should be teaching kids, but a lot of us probably aren't.
So they say more parents should teach their kids how to enjoy life. Research shows the happiest kids value important experiences over material things. So this morning we want to know, what is the best piece of parenting advice you ever received? Text us 704-329-3600.
I do think it's important to teach kids or people in general how to be happy, and rather than accumulating a certain thing or a certain job or a certain, property or car, or that it's
bloom where you're
like
planted.
living like
I'm not
it's
sure
hard.
you can
that.
teach happiness, but what you have to display, you as a parent have to display happiness.
True.
I can't say you be happy.
Yeah.
It's like telling you can't tell a kid to be happy or whatever. You have to exemplify that yourself. Right. So if you are the role model for that, then your kids certainly inherit that. I think whatever you are, your kids can become very easily.
It's true,
and they imitate so well.
They're sponges.
Do you think that's what your parents taught you?
You have to be a good example, is what you have to be. You try to be a good example. I haven't always been. The best advice I got was from my father. And see, I started in radio as a kid. I was only about 14, and I thought I was the hottest thing going. And I thought I was so cool, And he came. My father was an engineer. He was very, very straightforward. And so I'd been in radio a couple of years. He came to me one day and said, "You need to get a real job. Let me tell you something. I'm a radio announcer." And he looked at me and he said, "You remember what you just said." 2 years later, he had me working on a construction site, doing manual labor, the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
The most
Whipped you into shape.
humbling experience ever. I learned what real work is. So I always remember that from my father. He paid me back good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say when we read that. I do think it's important to teach kids to, be happy where you are, joy in all circumstances, because you never want to be that person's I'll be happy when I have this job, or I'll be happy when I have this house. But so you don't want to focus on material things, but at the same time, while you want your kids to be joyful, I think it's so good to have that tough parenting that they aren't always they don't think just being happy is what life is all about. Because I feel like my parents instilled in me a very strong work ethic, and whatever any boss has ever said to me, it doesn't compare to what my mom has said, because she was so straightforward. And so I feel like sometimes you see people that come in jobs and it's have you been babied your whole life?
You could tell.
Yeah, not to be mean, but it's sometimes I think that stern parenting that looked at you and said, all right, I'm going to show you what real work is about. It made you a better person, right?
Kick me in the what it did.
I think it's also about teaching kids how to overcome unhappiness, too. You're not always going to be happy, but when you are at your low point, how you can overcome that, too. Because not everything in life is handed to you, so it is kind of like that blend of being that supporter, but also that kind of stark reality, tough parental type. But then it also could be as simple advice as what my dad told me. It's every once in a while, treat yourself with a good steak. And
very practical, but useful.
I like it.
No, but then my dad also said is if you can find a job that you love doing every day, you've won. Because you spend so much of your life working that if you can find something you truly enjoy, it doesn't really seem like a job. And my mom, this one was big. She always taught me, learn to laugh at yourself. Because as a kid, I was way too sensitive, and kids were making fun of me. And it was just well, then turn around and make fun of yourself, because they have nothing to say.
That's why you're so good at it.
Yes, and I also realized I was an easy target. So
I'm an easy target, too.
Yeah, but no, it was really nice. Just learning to laugh at yourself. You take things less seriously, and then instead of being so defensive, you can almost kind of get in that. So I think that's probably some of the best advice I've received.
You're an easy target?
Whoa.
I'm a very easy target, especially for you.
All right, Ben, your advice.
But you handle it well.
You're always a good sport.
All right,
I would say that, to your point, my dad probably just led by example, in that my dad was cool as a cucumber about everything. Like there was nothing that would ruffle his feathers. And it was impressive to me, especially as I got older. I was like, wow, you're unflappable.
Yeah.
But there's two things that Mom has said, and she still says to this day, and I've told you one of them, is don't wish your life away. Because you spend your whole life waiting for the next vacation, or waiting for the weekend, or waiting for the next job, or waiting for the next whatever. And you find yourself wishing your life away. And you do. And when she said that and I was 20, I was like, oh, whatever, Mom. But once you get of a certain age, you start realizing,
we do it now. We're like Monday, Friday, almost Friday.
Yeah, like
then we come back Monday.
It's like a little hamster wheel we all get in, and it's so dangerous. The other thing, it came in variations, but she always said, and she always prefaced it like, babe, there's nobody that loves you more than I do. And it was usually some variation of, nobody cares what you think, or nobody needs to hear your opinion. Because I was an opinionated kid growing up, and opinionated
talk on TV
opinionated
and give
as
your
adult.
opinions.
And it was always her way to take me down a notch, which was always pretty good. And to remind me it's not about me. That's what it came down to. It's like, my mic's not off.
We hear you, though. We hear you.
It was a variation of, Ben, it's not about you. Which has served me really well, actually.
Very humble.
So she would turn off your mic sometimes.
She would turn off my mic sometimes. And be like, it's not about you. So...
we're getting some comments. John Kelly saying the harder you work, the luckier you get. I do think there is some premise to that, and I don't know if my parents told me that or it's just been instilled in me that, like, it's not always the most talented that succeeds at whatever. Sometimes it is the hardest worker. Sometimes it is the person that's the first to get there and the last to leave. And I feel like for a long time that's kind of was my motivation in this career anyway. Joy saying never give up, and Pamela saying great words of wisdom.
Yeah,
I love that.
All our parents, so wise.
I know, you look back at and it's really interesting now that since I only have like a 16-month-old, officially as of tomorrow, is the amount of times to say no, now JT just goes, no, because you're trying to tell them not to do things. But then along the line, I feel like kids, you get older, you're almost like, okay, I'm not going to listen to you. But then really when you get older, you look back and go, oh, man, they were right all along.
Yeah,
I think it's the constant coming of age. Once you become a parent or just older in general, you're like, oh, wow, that was really good advice. I probably should have listened to that much earlier. So sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
It's all coming back to you now.
Yeah, now it's all right in there.
All right, folks,
Is that
chime
a
in.
Celine Dion song?
I believe it is, yes. I won't sing it, though.
No.
We'll have to pay for it.
Yes.
And we don't have the money.
Okay.
All right, folks, chime in. Let us know the best advice your parents ever gave you, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte to Go.